The aim assist debate has to be the most divisive topic in gaming history, and it's gotten so bad that I would rather talk about politics or religion at the Christmas table than even uttering a semblance of a word about controllers. Tribalism is extremely prevalent in our current society, whether it's about politics, your favorite sports team, or even what color shirt you wear, and we see it all the time in gaming. When I was in my late teens, many years ago, the console war was raging on with Xbox and PlayStation fans constantly going at it. This later evolved into the console versus PC war due to the supposed PC master race. And in a way, it was one group forming their own tribe and assuming superiority over the other groups. But there are many more examples of this within specific gaming communities as well, and naturally, with our society being so toxic, the controller and mouse and keyboard users were bound to face off soon enough. And just like with many of these other topics, users will find themselves bound to their tribe of choice. And whether intentionally or not, they make it a core part of their identity or maybe even personality. And this would be fine and all, I mean, don't we all have hobbies and opinions and values? If it weren't for the fact that persons associating so closely with an idea or object to the point of it becoming a core part of their personality will equate an attack on that idea or object as an attack on themselves. If I would blurt out a statement like aim assist is aimbot, one of you guys watching probably will take offense to that statement because by extension, because it's a core part of their personality, these people see it as a direct insult to them. With these highly emotional states, as we've seen in politics time and time and again, there are plenty of people that deeply identify with the ideas or the objects in question, but lack the intelligence to argue their point, or they actually don't know what the facts are, leading to them arguing for their identity in a highly emotional state, and very often either misconstruing the truth, repeating something they've heard in passing without ever learning whether it's true or not, or flat out just lying so they can feel like they get a win. And it's crazy because today we have more information than we could ever consume in our lifetime, right at our fingertips. But despite that, misinformation is eroding our society as we know it, and it prevents us from solving these issues with politics, with gaming, and of course the thing that matters the most of all, aim assist. But why is it like this? Why is aim assist such a divisive subject that many content creators simply stray away from it to save them a headache? In an attempt to fully grasp the ongoing debate, I decided to ask my communities, that being my communities on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, what they think about aim assist. In order to do so, I made two posts, one asking for their best arguments for keeping aim assist as it is, and another asking for their best arguments for nerfing aim assist in some way, shape, or form. And I started running into issues just formatting the question. And pay attention to this part because it will be prevalent throughout the whole video. Because when it comes to this debate, most participants can't even decide on what they're arguing for. And I didn't know what to ask because I don't know what the end goal is. There is no actual end goal except either solidifying or legitimizing power for aim assist or taking away from the aim assist in some way. That being said, as a disclaimer, for the sake of the video, I asked for general for aim assist arguments and against aim assist arguments. And one of the main reasons I did this was because in previous videos discussing aim assist, I was always told that I was too biased and I didn't understand the controller players' side. So as far as arguing for or against, I won't put my 2 cents in this section of the video. If you want to hear my take on the whole situation, you can always wait until the end of the video. I also want to add that for obvious reasons, many responses did not make the cut. And this was by no means to spin the narrative in any way, but because there's no point in showing comments that repeat the same argument over and over again. And on top of that, I don't feel like platforming all of the many comments that think that insulting me or other mouse and keyboard players or controller players somehow will strengthen their argument. If you do want to see all of the comments, they will be available in my YouTube community, on my Facebook page, and on my Twitter posts respectively. I'll link them all in the description. And knowing how these discussions usually tend to go, I added an additional comment, just kind of as a disclaimer, that I generally want to hear good faith arguments for keeping aim assist as it is, as most of the time of the topic is discussed, I only see bad faith arguments, logical fallacies, or straight up misinformation. With this disclaimer in mind, it's safe to assume that the comments I received in the For section of Aim Assist is a representative of the Aim Assist debaters platform. And after going over these comments and giving it some real thought, for the sake of transparency and to stop this constant spread of misinformation, I decided to add a fact check thingy on the screen when a comment is featured to make sure that false narratives aren't being spread from my video, you know, with people claiming it's the truth and being really confident about it, but not having a base for the argument. Again, the goal of the fact check is to highlight incorrect statements, and I will try not to add fact checks when discussing something that's subjective, or to argue against an argument however wrong I, Ottr, might think it is. I'm simply repeating the perspectives of the controller and the mouse and keyboard players who came when I called. And this is gonna be really hard to go through. I've been pining actually going through these comments because I know how negative these types of things go, so enjoy. You should do a stream with controller and turn off aim assist, show people both sides, then get a discussion going. I don't care what you do for PC aim assist, but leave console DF alone. Even if you are in your PC lobbies, it doesn't matter compared to your scripts, your macros, your micros, your mouse stability settings, your FPS, your keybinds, your steam binds, your 37 extra buttons, your tap strafes, your jitter aim. Should I go on? Main point is you guys always cry about aim assist and somehow us console players get clumped into that. Leave us the frick out of it. It's a simple argument that I feel people make more complicated. M&K is better for movement, longer distance fighting, finer adjustments, jitter aiming, etc., where aim assist is no longer effective. Aim assist is literally only good for one thing, and that's close range fights. Yes, the majority of fights in Apex do come down to close range, and that's really where the argument begins. But if you stay out of aim assist range, you'll beat the controller player 10 out of 10 times if you're near the same skill level. Not to mention that some people don't have thousands of hours to grind to learn mouse and keyboard. To put it simply, Roller is great for casual people and good players alike. It has a lower skill ceiling and much better start because of the compensation. M&K has a higher skill ceiling, and with that comes lots of movement techniques that is very difficult and impossible without configs, let's be honest here. 4 out of 5 Roller players aren't even using. Mouse and keyboard is better if you have time to practice, controller is better to be more consistent on a casual basis. Imagine having that nice rig, all those peripherals, the movement tech, the jitter aiming, and you die to Timmy 2 thumps. The list of pros for M&K is about 5 times longer than the pros of aim assist, which is literally just close range fighting. This is coming from someone who has played both, by the way. In my opinion, the only time aim assist is at a solid advantage is in high elo lobbies where there's 5+ teams in the final ring. I can't maintain the belief that my legend is some badass when they aim like they do tech support. Aim assist is good for immersion. As someone who has used both, I think mouse and keyboard is superior. Just hear me out. PC has all types of benefits the console doesn't, such as looting death boxes while moving, accessing inventory without it taking up the whole screen, a actual proper tap strafe. And my biggest argument here, I think, would be I don't find it exactly easier to aim on mouse, but however, reaction times are much better and more precise because I have my literal entire arm to hold the mouse steady even with the sensitivity cranked. As to where on controller, I have only my thumb. Am a sitting duck when looting death boxes or using a Loba alt, can't reload near door or down teammates. I challenge you to put it to the test. Do 6 matches on PC with your normal game values and bring a console with your aim assist turn off and see if you get the same results as on PC, because I bet you don't. And don't forget, you will also enjoy playing at only a fraction of the frame rate you're used to playing on your PC. Caps lock off. I feel like he held shift for that one. What does Skill Cakes have to say about it? Number 1 console pred switched to mouse and keyboard and chopped up every pro at Rally. Hal is the best player in the game regardless of what input he plays. The controller versus M&K debate all comes down to pro players' confidence. The average mouse and keyboard player stomps the average controller player. If aim assist deserves a nerf, it should be only for competitive. I'm a controller player, but I may prefer watching a good mouse and keyboard player. The movement and the snaps are just outrageous. I think that while aim assist is strong, I'd say it's hardly ever been overpowered. The advantages you get from M&K far outweighs the one advantage controller players get in aim assist. Apex, for the most part, is all about how you're moving in a fight. Sure, there are other variables, but the bottom line is when you're in an exchange, it boils down to how you're moving and taking angles. Keyboard players have it pretty easy when it comes to the broken movement mechanics in the game, while controller players have to use a backdoor version of these mechanics that are still half-assed at best. There are macros, 87 buttons having your whole arm to aim, and movement still far outweighs the slight advantage of aim assist. It's honestly a no-brainer. I tested mouse and keyboard, and it's light years ahead of controller with aim assist. The movement, the additional keys, and aiming with a mouse is easier than controller. This shouldn't even be a debate. It's not broken. All players have access to use it if they choose to. It adds a little bit of balance against mouse and keyboard, and it's fine where it is in my opinion. If it was OP, all PC players would be using it instead of mouse and keyboard. Just put a 2 or more times sight on any weapon and shoot it with a controller. That's the argument. Drops mic. Pick up an R99 and shoot it with a controller. PC can shoot a 3x Havoc from 30 plus yards. Are you joking? Okay, I don't normally comment on things like this, but I have to weigh in. When studied and examined, it all boils down to one thing, and here is the answer. Because. My best argument is, it will never affect mouse and keyboard players because they're in a different lobby, so why change it? It's simply appropriate compensation for joystick interfacing. It's also tied to relative enjoyment against difficulty. Playing roller with aim assist off is tough. Apex would likely lose a huge proportion of the player base if the game was overly difficult to play. People seem to forget that aim assist is there because of having to cross the middle threshold of the thumbstick to initiate a rotation in another direction. Has it been made too strong in some games? Yeah, and console Apex is a shining example with 0.6 being too much, but 0.4 isn't too much and any less and it negates what it's intended for. Aim assist should be kept as is. I think skill plays a part in it because I'm always whipping my shots regardless of aim assist. The only problem I see is when there are multiple targets in close proximity, it'll switch between them occasionally, preventing you from taking out all your targets in the order that you would like to. Well, you need to separate comp from a dev's point of view. As a dev, you want the game to be super accessible and try to help more casuals to fight higher skilled players. In comp and as a player, it's not very balanced. You keep aim assist and it's pretty overpowering. Remove aim assist and MNK would simply dominate. I like this last bang meta because some pros demonstrated how they could still beam through the smoke, which cancels aim assist, but we all saw how MNK was better in smokes. As someone previously mentioned, console is at a huge disadvantage without being able to bind macros, which I personally consider almost cheating. Aiming down sights in controller is also very slowed comparatively to mouse and keyboard, while aiming in general is slower than mouse, and you can make micro adjustments that you simply can't with a controller, which is where aim assist comes in. To balance it, it's just difficult in my opinion. We can lessen the values in comp perhaps, but devs want to make money, and you need players to be able to pull off things they see pros do, so they have a sense of satisfaction to keep playing. If we went with every comp recommendation made by pros, the game dies because people will be frustrated as they can't breach the skill gap. If we divide inputs like controller-only lobbies or mouse and keyboard-only lobbies, mouse and keyboard players would suffer longer queue times and less diversity of players, since Apex is a controller-heavy game, since most of its players are on console. In conclusion, we need separate rule sets or settings to even the ALGS playing field. For casuals, we need to keep it what it is. Casual. Aim assist should stay because the average player actually does need it, and an average player with it is still only hitting probably 50% of the clip, if that, on a moving player more than 20 to 30 meters away. Then the cracked controller players who are on that pro level are just naturally good and are a very small percentage of the player base. The aim assist is likely very minimal help to them. Then the argument that nothing is stopping MNK players at the competitive level from switching to controller. The only reasons they wouldn't is because they lack the skill to use a controller at the level of competition even with aim assist, and they don't want to get over the learning curve. And another reason is they don't want to lose the movement advantages that mouse and keyboard can provide. While the reason aim assist is a thing is to counteract the movement capabilities the mouse and keyboard have, I think their balance both have their own upsides. And this was a response, but I have to add this for the context. Mouse and keyboard can't snap aim as fast as aim assist, just saying. Yes, and that may be true, but PC has better movement and use your whole arm to aim, which is easier to refine than just your thumb. No matter what, on a controller you'll have to pass through the center of the screen even with high sensitivity, and that's gonna take longer than when you just snap your arm left or right with a mouse. I'm just saying I think they're as balanced as it can be from differing so much in performance. Aim assist is very much needed. As someone who has played console and PC both, I can tell you that console needs aim assist. With mouse and keyboard, you have a lot of better sensitivity, better movement, and you get to use your full arm for looking around instead of a thumb, making reaction time 10 times better. On controller, you only have a few inches of thumb to work with, making reactions difficult, especially for new people. If aim assist gets taken out, that closes the door to more new people joining the game, and that might make a more competitive environment, but do we really want that? Taking out aim assist will be the death of Apex if it happens. Also, I figure I'd mention I don't use aim assist. With how my dead zones are set up and how fast-paced the game normally is, it hinders me more than it helps. Personally, after doing 1v1s with PC and console aim assist, I feel like it's not as bad as the clips everyone posts. More so Zens or strike packs and third-party softwares that are the issue, but aim assist cops it. Well, if you think about it, not everyone has the luxury of having a PC, but people who have PCs get the luxury to make decisions for people who don't even have the option. Pretty soon, console will be unplayable because everyone's poking opinions on these subjects instead of factual. They just throw out opinions on how controllers are so overpowered when honestly it's not. I hopped on my friend's computer and played 10 minutes. I dropped 8 kills in ranked first game on PC in like 7 years. On console, I can't even get free kills when I'm actually trying. That's the difference. This is coming from an Apex player with 410 days played on Apex, so it's pretty credible. Honestly, aim assist is great for new and casual players. I found it myself, especially playing Apex, that due to the tactical nature and the fact that every second counts as my skill grew, I ended up turning aim assist off on my controller and play completely linear. After aim assist refocused on an Octane running past while I was shooting at a Bangalore, this ultimately cost me the fight, but with all things, it's just personal preference, and a big thing a lot of people forget although it's a competitive game. For a lot of people, it's just a chill way to end the day, and accessibility is ultra important. And has anyone seen that streamer Hands? The dude has like half a hand, half an arm, and is still clapping cheeks. I'm pretty sure no one cares if there's a little aim assist involved, but if it's going to be competitive level, aim assist should be off, especially since most mouse and keyboard advantages can be copied in some way, especially if you play claw and know how to set your controller right. Mainly the fact that without aim assist, mouse and keyboard dominates controlling when it should come to aiming. The whole reason aim assist was introduced. People shouldn't be forced to play on mouse and keyboard. Solely due to the fact that the devs already ran tests on this, even the best controller players get rolled by the worst M&K players. I solely queue to Diamond 4 most seasons. When I do queue up with friends, they're usually mouse and keyboard players and they do not rank as high as me. We jump into lobbies and I am the worst on my team almost every time. Try playing with mouse and keyboard, but you can only move your mouse 1 inch. This is why we need sit. We don't have micro adjustments, we have aim assist, which is in place to replicate it. Good players will be good players regardless of input, but mouse and keyboard has the higher skill ceiling. At a higher level, controller players will completely fall off behind mouse and keyboard players without aim assist. If you want to experience extremes of aim assist, play the new Halo on mouse and keyboard and rage against the absolutely broken aim assist. Then play Rainbow Six Siege on console and experience the horrors of trying to aim with 0 aim assist. Aim assist should stay as it is because of the extreme movement capability of mouse and keyboard players. It is impossible to be that elusive and quick on controller. If to get rid of mouse and keyboard movement exploits, I'd say get rid of aim assist. Think about it. The PlayStation and Xbox, the number of predators are like 0.1% compared to the rest of the pool group. Me, for example, has tried using no aim assist and my aim becomes trash and I struggle to get 1 kill each game. Whereas with aim assist, I don't struggle as much to get kills. Point is, I think the average and trash players, e.g. all the players below Platinum, all have aim assist removed. It will be detrimental because they'll get negative as it becomes more and more difficult to enjoy each game as they've always enjoyed it. So most of them will probably play less or stop playing, which will in turn have an effect on sales of coins. So I don't think aim assist should be stopped as they have already nerfed it some time ago. If I remember properly, 99% of controller players can't tap strafe and go crazy on ziplines. 99.9% can't move when looting, unless that jumping armor switch counts in, which the 0.1% applies to. The M&K movement in fights is just next level compared to the average PS Xbox player that just stands still and shoots. This is all just my opinion though. Mouse and keyboard can walk while shooting, tap strafe, a ton of other movement techniques that are either impossible or so hard to do on controller they're not even worth trying, all while often having at least somewhat better graphics, frame rate, etc. So let me keep my damn aim assist. Lol, why is this still even a topic? You can't play console with PC unless you have a buddy from PC and he joins your party. You are all such complainers. I don't see any of us controller users complaining about tap strafing and all the other bull crap PC gets. You're starting to sound like a broken record. It's getting old. Play the damn game and quit being a child. The fact that M&K players are able to direct aim one direction, then immediately change direction on command without the need to cross over a center point, as a controller's analog stick has to do in order to change direction. Aim assist is there to follow the target to some degree as you redirect the analog as you're moving. My argument is I'm totally crap with it, so keep it as it is, please. It makes casual and new players experience better, which is important for the longevity of the game. Aim assist should be reduced by 0.1 per rank increase from silver, so by the time they hit master, no aim assist is available, and 0.4 aim assist in crossplay lobbies as well. And honestly, consoles in general, if 0.4 is thriving on PC and pros are switching, I think the best is to give mouse and keyboard 0.2 aim assist so no one can complain. If they do, they are hypercritical since all controller players keep saying aim assist isn't that strong. Roller has to have aim assist to be able to compete against mouse and keyboard. It's an attempt at balancing apples and oranges. You can't balance the two inputs. Aim assist is the only thing that makes roller viable. The biggest difference between mouse and sticks is you have to cross a horizontal plane as someone strafes from left to right or right to left with the sticks. With mouse, it's instantaneous, e.g. an enemy is strafing to your screen right and your stick is jammed to the right. When that enemy suddenly begins strafing to your screen left, you have to cross the stick past resting position to continue tracking the enemy. Analog versus scroll ball, mouse is hands down unfair without aim assist. Analog sticks are almost impossible to aim with and keep on target without some sort of assistance to help. M and K movement is superior, as well as long-range full auto. Up-close face-to-face aim assist is technically easier to handle, but I wouldn't say better all of the time. I'm on controller and good, and I get crapped on by M and K if the guy is movement god and accurate. I think it somewhat evens out, and it's just personal preference to a point. I like the notion controllers are for gaming, keyboards are for emails. Also, if aim assist was that powerful, I'd never lose a 1v1 or even 1v2 for that matter. As a console player that plays in PC lobbies, aim assist doesn't help at all. Because mouse and keyboard can literally break the movement of this game, and it has historically broken the movement. Even after nerfs, patch updates, etc., movement is still broken. When controller players can move around the map, flash over a wall jump, run on a wall, then proceed to skull freak you with a PK, I will fully support the removal of aim assist. Man, shoot the R9 across the map on mouse and keyboard and try to do the same on roller, you will see that aim assist won't help you much at all. My only real argument would be that on mouse and keyboard you get arm wrist movement, on console you get thumb movement for aim. I think they should keep aim assist and not allow crossplay. It creates the issue of even having aim assist as a problem. But if you want some of my pros for keeping aim assist, just watch FPS that have no aim assist, and it's almost impossible to play without extremely slow sensitivity, which as games evolve for more movement, especially Apex. A lower sensitivity isn't really feasible to keep up with the action, and then also already be a movement disadvantage from the ability of inputs that controller cannot do, and M and K can. Like lurching and all the other mid-air stuff you simply cannot do on a controller. Also, mouse and keyboard is measuring distance between 2 points, whereas controller is movement over time. It is way easier to control small, subtle adjustments in your aim by slightly shifting your hand with a mouse than it is trying to measure assessed distance with a joystick, so you have to agree that there is a slight disadvantage in that aspect. Now, finding a middle ground is what developers have tried and failed. Inventories and on-screen interactions are typically easier to handle via M and K, so it's really just has to do with 2 different inputs and trying to match them when they don't have a common denominator. Plus, let's be honest, if they take away aim assist, it could possibly kill a lot of the player base, because if you check daily player counts compared to Steam charts and the like, you'll see a larger player base on console players by a ratio. EA isn't known to waste money on games, losing player counts or money, so I would argue one of the biggest arguments for aim assists is so it doesn't create a reason for them to pull the cord on Apex. Games are made to be played with a controller. M and K pros, tap strafing, moving while looting, consistent beams from across the map using R9, R301, jitter aiming, etc. Roller pros, aim assist. Biggest reason I want to keep it is so people like you can carry on crying over it. Most mouse and keyboard players have played with a controller at some point in their life. Next time, go ahead and turn off the aim assist and try to play a game. There's your pro argument. Mouse and keyboard need to get rid of tap strafing, moving while looting, and jitter aiming. Then they have the cheek to even chat about aim assist. Ahahaha, laughable, just get good and stop crying. Some of these are good arguments and you're still not replying to them. Well, I am now. Don't tell me you want aim assist banned and are one of the streamers that complain about it while rolling people on M and K. If there's aim assist, it doesn't work. You literally have your whole arm. If aim assist was that good, I'd hit all my shots. M and K are for emails, controllers are for gaming. Enough said. I don't care. I crap on you regardless. They have a thumb. You have an arm. How is aim assist even close to wall running, tap strafing, and every other godly movement? The aim assist doesn't even register on fast moving targets. You get beamed running straight at someone, and it's aim assist's fault. LFMAO, add me, whatever his name is. I'll gladly take clips and show you as rerunning aim assist doesn't work. 2D plane versus 3D plane. And that was most of the 4 comments, so now we're going to head on over to YouTube to see what they have to say. It can give you thumb cramps as a downside of using controller. Mouse and keyboard has tap strafe to the max, which is already busted on its own when trying to shoot them without aim assist. On top of that, mouse and keyboard have better precise aim for faraway targets, since aim assist has a range on it, and with a mouse you have better control for your aim. I feel like we have to have aim assist removed, and tap strafing has to go completely as well, because it would be next to impossible to hit people without aim assist. Even after getting comfortable with controller for FPS games, I will always outperform myself with mouse and keyboard because of the flexibility offered with full control of my aim. I'm either at the mercy of having high sense aim and missing shots that should be easy to hit, or too low sensitivity where maneuvering becomes a hassle and lead to deaths that could be easily avoided. As a mouse and keyboard player, I think it's fine. I can't do any of the fancy movements like tap strafing or anything like that, but even my super basic movement is a lot better than all of my controller friends who have hundreds of more hours than me. I also tried controller for a bit, and while it's probably a little bit overtuned, it's not that big of a deal, and people treat it like it's a reason why to win or lose games when it's not. Simply put, aim assist has to be on every FPS console game, because without it, everyone's overall accuracy will plummet because not everyone realizes how much aim assist actually helps. Without aim assist, M and K would have every advantage over controller. Long range, jitter aim, tap strafing and other movement mechanics, better looting, and then would be more precise at close range too. Aim assist keeps diversity in the game and in pro teams. Controller has small stick area, mouse and keyboard has big mouse area, makes the game fair. I expected to see nothing but negativity with these comments, so actually thoughtful and considerate. Nice, yeah. Huge shout out for the YouTube community for keeping things civil. Because movement players exist, they should keep it. There are players who play on console with their PC friends. I have less than 30 FPS on Switch, and without aim assist, I would not be able to kill anyone. I think aim assist should be put to 100% on controller, just to see what happens. Albeit. Argument. Aim assist does not need a nerf because it's not the problem to begin with. The aim assist argument is blaming the symptom rather than the cause. A lot of people believe that aim assist is there to reduce the innate mechanical disadvantage a pad has. The premise is wrong. Aim assist from the onset is designed to give pad an advantage in tracking to counter the advantage mouse and keyboard has in flick. Pad tracking advantage in close range with autos, MK flick advantage with semis, and for many seasons, this wasn't a problem. Early in Apex's life, nobody complained about pad AA. Now everyone does. Why? They didn't buff aim assist. Nothing about aim assist itself has changed. The advantage of aim assist shot up with no changes to aim assist at all. It is a symptom, not the cause. So what is the cause? What did actually change? The increase in time to kill through the addition of things like crafting, evo, the reductions in gun damage, the introduction of DMRs that out-DPS snipers, the nerfing of assault rifles to make SMGs the DPS kings. Aim assist was always meant to give pad situational advantage, but changes to the game made pad situations far more frequent than they used to be and got rid of a lot of the mouse and keyboard situational advantages at the same time. Therefore, tweaks to these aspects would boost MK advantage and without any changes to aim assist. Reduce TTK, bring back shotgun 2-pumps and one-hit knock, kill sniper headshots. Adjust DMRs to return range superiority to snipers, balance the game so it isn't a close range or bust game. Do that and see if aim assist is really OP. And that was it for YouTube. We're going to check out Twitter. Okay. I believe aim assist should stay because without it, casual gamers with 98 IQ can't compete against sweats. It forces them to quit, therefore reducing the player base by millions. Companies such as Microsoft would take huge losses without each of their $60 per game. If companies aren't making money from the average or bad players because they're not having fun, then good players won't have anyone to play against and we'd all be stuck at 100 ping. Aim assist was a thing even in controller versus controller lobbies. Even players on controller going against other controllers need aim assist because the controller is a failed device that doesn't work without scripts or auto aim. So I guess I put multiple reasons. If console players would somehow have tap strafe and configs like Steam as well as 120 FPS, I think 0.2 or 3 AA would be a good trade-off at 0.2 AA on PC controller if tap strafe configs were allowed on all platforms and not considered cheating. A substantial amount of the player base are controller casuals, and in combination with the already horrible matchmaking, removing aim assist would make Apex not fun to play for a major part of the player base and player count would likely drop. Playing both at the highest level, neither are broken, people just like excuses. Just so I can read a complaining Ottr tweet daily. Aim assist wouldn't be as complained about if it was a controller-focused game. Name one mouse and keyboard player in the CDL, and are they complaining about aim assist? Using a 1-inch diameter to fine-tune aim and make micro-adjustments instead of a desk area of space is extremely difficult. We've seen the best of the best try without AA, it went horribly. Now, if the best struggled, what makes you think 99.99% of the rest of the player base wouldn't? So we can make mouse and keyboard players mad. MK versus controller debate is honestly just cope from both sides. Both are fine as they are. Controller players will always complain when an MK player hits the craziest tap strafe combo on them, and MK players will always complain when they get beamed by a controller from 4 meters. Controller was the first input for video games and has been the prominent input ever since. The controller with aim assist was the original input used for FPS games, so why just because you want to play an inferior input should controller players be forced to suffer? Because controller is the worst input without it, casual audience helps grow your career as long as gaming, casuals playing controller because console. Having they get rolled my MK wouldn't be ideal, which is why they favor controller players. For keeping. Controller hardware can be an impedance to aim, stick drift, acceleration, input delay, etc. Introduce inconsistencies that don't happen on mouse. I realize controllers can be tuned a lot these days, but a stick can never replicate a freely moving mouse. It shouldn't be a debate that the aiming on mouse is consistently easier. A mouse's design is just better than the design of an analog stick for this application. Thus, aim assist was designed and, in my opinion, needed to tighten the gap. As for the 0.4 versus 0.6 debate, I'm still trying to understand why there's a difference. It should, in my opinion, be consistent across platforms. Aim assist makes your business money by tricking casual players into thinking they're good, making them likely to buy skins, because the better you are at the game, the better the chances are you will buy MTX. Microtransactions. MK is zero recoil. Competitive gaming, particularly PC, systemically tends to benefit those with higher socioeconomic status, reducing the entry barrier cost of console plus controller and AA versus PC peripherals into high-level competitive gaming is key to increase diversity and representation. Systematically might have been the wrong word here. Maybe inherently would be better. I still don't believe aim assist belongs in cross-input lobbies and competitive, but there is still merit in democratizing esports this way. You're a trash player. Crimea River guys, then let's remove every movement mechanic from PC, dumbasses. So obviously there were a lot of comments about defending aim assist in one way, shape, or form. Some more combative than others. Either way, an overarching theme definitely seems to be that since mouse and keyboard has a larger amount of things that they can do, it means that controller is a worse input and aim assist should be left alone. If anything, mouse and keyboard's abilities should be lowered through nerfs to movement and other things. Moving on, I decided to ask my Facebook community for their best anti-aim assist arguments, as in arguments as to why aim assist should be nerfed or removed, or at least acknowledging that it is on the strong side. Instead of coherent arguments against aim assist, a lot of the responses I received were actually a great example of the tribalism at play in a forum that's almost entirely casual controller players. The following were among the first comments that I saw when I started going through the replies, followed by a mix of forum sliding and the occasional decent argument. You so mad roller players be rolling you. You have such an advantage over a controller player, you don't even know. PC already has superior movement and aim assist. Alas, you must have a bad AF movement if you get one-clipped by my roller player. Just do a little tap strafe, aim assist, vanish. If they banned mouse and keyboard, how much complaining from the pro community would we hear? Now if we banned controllers and added mouse and keyboard to consoles, how much complaining would we hear? You're going to get more complaining from the ones on top with mouse and keyboard, just from movement alone. Aim assist is nothing compared to how much flexibility you have with movement on mouse and keyboard. Close quarter encounters, cause what else? Rotational? Still close quarters thing. Mid-range is pretty on par with mouse and keyboard, and long range is mouse and keyboard dominant. I'm down for lowering the values, perhaps, but how do you buff it from mid to long range? There's more negatives to removing it than positives. And some of these are fine, right? Like, they're not really bad arguments necessarily, but keep in mind, I asked for anti-aim assist arguments. And I already had a post up that had been up for, 2 days? For people to argue their case on defending aim assists. So you know, they're in the wrong place. It's forum sliding, and it's safe to say that after counting the amount of posts arguing for aim assist, or straight up just taking the chance to go for insults, far outweighed the sane or relevant comments that I was asking for. Anyways, let's take a look at some of the other responses that we received. As a console player, the best argument I have to remove aim assist is that when you are moving in a fight, the aim assist will drag your character sometimes in a way you don't want. Console player here, lower the value to at least 0.4 like PC for the casuals, and personally I want to see 0.2 aim assist for controller because then it would actually create a skill gap. Countless times I've been completely destroyed by level 200 with no movement, positioning, or awareness, but because they have the juicy 0.6 aim assist, they proceed to land the most bull crap shots and knock me, and if you play low sensitivity on controller, you're literally living life on easy mode, especially as SMGs are always meta, it's no wonder controller dominates. Most of y'all would have a 0.25 kill death ratio if you were on a PC and they took your aim assist away, lol. With the top ranked players, as well as the winning pros numbers of controller being as high as they are, it needs to be balanced. If you play any online game and one side is 92%, any reasonable game would balance if there is a viable option. The thing being, Apex, fairly enough, isn't overly fussed. And why would they, as no one is controlling the inputs you choose to plug into your 5K computer? As a player, I think there is far more pressing issues than what input you feel better with. Any good player will be able to play on controller or mouse and keyboard. Simple, plugging in a controller causes either 40% of the aim, if on PC, or 60% of the aim on console to be done for you. If two fresh players 1v1, with one on controller and the other one on mouse and keyboard, the controller player will win more often than not due to that. Because contrary to the M&K gets better movement so it's balanced that people somehow believe, the part that wins the game is the part where you shoot someone. And you can't really shoot someone while wall jumping or tap strafing. So, yeah, hit it with the echo chamber. I love that. I love the comments. I feel like aim assist isn't that far from being okay. I made mouse and keyboard myself, but have played roller. I personally believe simply lowering the strength of it as the range decreases is the answer. Let them have aim assist at range, but when it's up close at 1v1 at equal skills, roller will always take it. Man, I got offered top fan on his page and I don't agree with 90% of the page's content, and yet another post here is why I seriously am beginning to loathe Apex content creators. I've had plenty of friends move from console to PC for Apex, and hands down they all said by far they have a way easier time landing shots and gun sight with the Wingman or the R9 on PC. Plus, they're learning more wall jumps and movement techs constantly. The amount of crutches the PC players get despite having plenty of innate advantages with the hardware is insane that they argue for console-heavy nerfs. If you guys seriously want aim assist removed, why don't you guys start with removing the huge amount of crutches PC starts with without even mentioning movement tech? Let's start with death box looting and the ability to do entire aerobics routine on the box while switching your armor and getting kitted. If that's not bad enough, how about having clearly stronger net coding to where you can toss ordnance and shots through doors that are less than 2 pixels opened? Still not enough of, then you can move on to the macro movement tech and ability to overly keybind controls to give unreasonable functions like super jumping out of a climb and being able to speed boost to the levels of tridents in boost. It's absolutely insane that the PC players for years claimed aim dominance while screaming PC master race at everyone on consoles are now crying over the one feature that gives compensation to the incredibly limited aiming potential of console players, and furthermore, all of the comments saying aim assist is aimbot in close range is beyond hilarious to me. If you're close range and missing shots on PC, maybe take a step back and ask yourself if that's a problem with your skill. It's never gonna go away, so if you can't beat them, join them. Remove every single advantage that PC and controller get over another if anything is getting removed. Take it all away then. No more close aimbot for roller, no more movement for PC, no more lasering from 200 meters with a 99 for PC. It's the only way to make it truly fair since crybabies can't handle that, each has its own benefits. They should make everything neutral. Don't understand why PC players can bounce all over the place, literally turning 180 degrees and going the other way. That's some BS. Remove moving while looting, reloading while holding a door, and then remove aim assist. Mouse and keyboards are privileged gamers, that is all. Like rich people looking down on poor people and then complaining when the poor people get something or have anything better than the $2,000 system. Controller gets bumps. M and K get the whole arm to control. Still think advantage goes to M and K. Pipe down, Ottr, you won't listen. If aim assist is removed, players will remove themselves, and it won't be a couple. I want to know what type of aim assist y'all are using. It does 40 to 60% of your aiming. Mine barely locks on past 20 meters, lol, but then again, Apex players will cry about anything. So reading through this, I had to go back and make sure that I actually was reading the anti-aim assist argument post, and I didn't somehow click into the wrong thing. Yeah, turns out it was that post. Anyways, that seemed to be most of the comments on Facebook, and I did obviously keep a few ones out that were leading towards insults. Some were actually so egregious that one of my moderators ended up cleaning those up. Honestly though, I'm not really surprised. Asking for an anti-aim assist argument in such a biased environment wouldn't lead to a response like this. But obviously, we can't end here because we want to get some good arguments for the sake of the video. So thankfully, I also inquired my community on YouTube, who provide what I will consider at least somewhat more useful responses as to why aim assist has to change. I'm scared of close range fights, to be honest. The laser beams are insane. Trying to play team deathmatch, you get opponents with roller on R99 or car, and you'll think you're fighting gods, but with a bit of range, it feels close. Just watch the first pub match of Verhol's last livestream on Twitch and you will see why it is OP. The power of controller is consistency. Give players slowdown aim assist, what every other game has, rather than rotational aim assist that tracks for you with 0 milliseconds reaction time. Respawn argue that the large majority of the player base, even on PC players, are in controller, and that large majority would be stupid not to take advantage of how broken 200 FPS aim assist with configs is, unless they just like mouse and keyboard like the rest of us. It is not a replication of a human's aim, which is its main purpose, it's rather an automation of the aim mechanic. Aim assist is inhuman, it will never be balanced. As an ex-controller player, top 5% in COD Seaway Pro AM, 2 on Apex with now 300 hours of mouse and keyboard experience, Diamond 4 solo queue, I consider rotational aim assist outperforms any benefit that mouse and keyboard has. I have to be absolute perfect in my 1v1s, I don't get inhuman reaction time to horizontal movements. Mid-range we all know with recoil-controlled top controller players can compete, but the advantage in close quarters combat is just overwhelming. The way it can follow an enemy's strafe changing the direction with no delay is a real issue here. The human mind has its reaction time, and aim assist can track through a change in direction faster than that because it is instant with no delay. Anyone on controller who can follow a target at all without aim assist will do ridiculously good because they track the enemy on their own, and aim assist makes up for the changes in direction for you. A good controller player always has a 1 to 4 bullet advantage over a good keyboard and mouse controller because of it. I will be honest, I hope at least ALGS is forced to turn off aim assist. If you're playing at the highest level, there's no reason you need system assist, so it's supposed to be pure skill. Aim assist's purpose is to prevent mouse and keyboard from crapping on roller players, right? But right now, we the mouse and keyboard players are the ones who's getting crapped on. What I want to say is, perhaps it's time for us mouse and keyboard players to get the assistance that roller has gotten. I am a controller player, and I can see a noticeable difference without aim assist. I feel like it makes elimination stupid easy when enemies are up close. But that's just me. Why is aim assist allowed in PC lobbies and in pro gaming? It should only be on console. No reason to have a handicapping system in the ALGS, no other sports have it either at the highest level. There shouldn't be aim assist for headshots. 0.6 carries console players too much. Oh no, Ottr started World War III before Russia did. I just thought that one was funny, I wanted to add it. Admittedly, there also were some belittling and insulting comments on YouTube as well that didn't make the cut. And there were of course a few comments that were arguing on the defense of aim assist, but certainly less so than on Facebook. While they existed, they were definitely a minority here. But we also asked Twitter. So let's take a look at Twitter and see what they have to say. Why should people be rewarded for opting into an inferior input? You're choosing to use one thumb over your whole arm for a reason, and it's pretty clear the reason is that they can't hang without rotational aim assist. This only applies to PC and comp, so console kids, relax. So I ended up watching Floating Koala turn off his aim assist, so I thought I'd give it a try, and when I did, the gameplay felt completely different, but after an hour or two, I ended up getting used to it. In conclusion, us controller players never needed aim assist in the first place. Back when crossplay started to become popular, aim assist was buffed to even MK and controller, and now dominates. Isn't this enough? Something that isn't talked about much is the 0 millisecond reaction time. If you know anything about aiming, especially reactive tracking, you know it's unfair. Average weekend roller players outdamaging mid to high level mouse and keyboard players in isolated engagements should be proof enough. Aim assist is able to negate errors made in aim and produce results not capable under the scope of human performance, because rotational AA strafing tracking strafes for you, not moving the right stick. If you think this is fair, argue with the wall or the mirror, because you can't convince me this is fair. Clear advantage: when I can hop on controller and be one clipping left, right, and center and winning games with 10+ kills with no experience on controller, simple as that. Just remove rotational aim assist as a start, in my opinion. Competitions should be a comparison of raw human skill, not who has the best aim assist settings, literal scripts aiming for you. And aim assist starts tracking instantly as someone slides around a corner, whereas on mouse and keyboard you have to either be prepared or react to it. Aim assist also allows for casual players to easily aim and one-burst people with burst guns for very little thought or effort. You can see when you die and aim assist breaks, how the reticle flings across the screen because we're trying to aim in a completely wrong spot. It also allows more situational awareness for controller players, less brain power focus on controlling aim or recoil. A mouse and keyboard player has to micromanage the aim or recoil the entire gunfight to adjust track moving targets, less brain power left for situational awareness. Controller and mouse and keyboard should simply not be mixed in anything but casual gameplay, and in my honest opinion, controllers should not be used in any competitions whatsoever. Let competitions be reserved for raw displays of skill, raw human input, not scripts and aim assist. Aim assist is also generally blatantly too strong even in casual modes. Terrible or average players can usually get lucky kills on skilled mouse and keyboard players, because aim assist just hits sometimes, the magical bubble. Even if the skilled mouse and keyboard player wins the majority of the time, it's still annoying to get one-bursted by a 90 IQ controller player laying down in bed, smoking a joint, eating a piece of pizza, and playing with their toes. An AFK controller player will still literally aim at targets passing by, LMAO, an actual robot playing the game for them. Might as well just give them a veteran bot and allow it to make the plays and movements for them too. If the game aims for them, why not allow it to move too? Why not just let console players enable AI to literally play the entire game? Imagine going to a bike race down the street and the guy next to you brings a horse and argues how the horse has disadvantages of getting on the horse, making sure it's trained to run down the street and so on and so on. How can you tell who is the best if you argue over what you use? Aim assist has 0 reaction time when tracking a target that switches directions. It artificially lifts the skill floor, making the average or below average player better than they would be. It can also be used in the hands of a very skilled player. Lower sensitivities can barely miss shots with aim assist due to the magnetism effect it has when it curves towards your enemies. It is straight up unfair to fight it if you're required to hit every single bullet to win a fight just because of an input. Aim assist that we use is a magnetized type of assist, not a slowdown, making it really strong once it's active. I say we need a weaker version or a slowdown assist instead of a magnet. Far too easy to beam currently, it feels brain dead because of the micro adjustments that it does. Competitive integrity? Current statistical trends in players across all skill levels shifting to controller as an input suggest, at minimum, players view controllers as competitively advantageous. Performance across all game modes additionally suggests these aren't just perception, but actual advantages. I have worked on mouse and keyboard for 15 years and I got decent with it. I commonly get outgunned by controller players. It requires far less work with far more regular results. Movement versus aim assist. Movement does not win fights, aim assist does. Aim assist generally hits more headshots. Mouse and keyboard can't contend 1v1. In human reaction times to strafe variations, visual clutter has minimal effect as aim assist works through most particles. Bullet punch is less dramatic as aim assist helps keep the target centered no matter what, way less prone to shaky aim or nervousness. Aimbot. The smoothness aim assist reaches is inhuman and its tracking ability is higher than like 80% of people who play the game off the bat with no help. It also doesn't care if you actually see the person through the visual clutter that most games have. Visual clutter shields breaking, damage effects, blood splatter, in-world effects, etc. Aim assist sees right through that humans can't see. Since now that roller players can use config for movement, the debate is a bit over. Yes, you can't use them in a pro setting, but 99.5% of people will never go pro and play the casual. The advantages of roller aim assist doesn't have to be learned like the advantages of mouse and keyboard. Movement aim assist is immediate, automatic, software-controlled performance out of the box in its current state. Aim assist basically minimizes human errors by reacting to strafes the millisecond they happen and slowing down the aim to easily get on the enemy again. Human errors should always be a big factor in esports. My favorite is Mandy's take. If controller is for gaming and mouse and key is for writing emails, shouldn't mouse and key get the aim assist? But the biggest actual problem is the fact that aim assist instantaneously changes directions when mouse and keyboard is limited by reaction time. Robots are not a competitive input. It ruins the new player experience for PC people. Imagine installing the game and barely out how to recall control just for little Timmy to laser you down while cleaning snot off his nose. Getting killed by level 30 accounts as if they were pro players is an awful experience. Gyro exists, raw input, stop crouching on a gimped aimbot. Aim is the #1 most important thing in Apex, especially at close range. Aim assist ruins the integrity of a close range fight because it easily allows you to track someone perfectly. On top of that, it doesn't require skill like mouse and keyboard, 99% of mouse and keyboard techs do, which is, I couldn't find a follow-up to that. Aim assist should be removed. Most of the streamers who are preds use controller. Aim assist is instantaneous, normal human reaction time 250 to 400 milliseconds, top gamers can be 200. It is unaffected by poor iron sights or visual clutter, leaves or debris on the ground. It is unaffected by user ailments, tired, hungry, sick, allergies, depression, and posture, meaning it's 100% consistent, and I also couldn't find a part 2 for this one. And I just love this meme. Where do I even begin? In a game with a high time to kill like Apex, smooth tracking is rewarded more than accurate flicking that by default makes aim assist more important than in other games. Rotational aim assist basically makes micro adjustments, in my opinion hardest part of aiming, obsolete. Rotational aim assist basically gives you inhuman reaction time since it follows directional changes with 0 milliseconds delay, so it changes the direction for you even before you have a chance to react to the opponent's strafe. This video demonstrates that pretty well. Controller players always use the PC has better movement argument while playing on a slow 3 to 4 sensitivity. You can pretty much do every movement technique in the game without lurch on console, and if you are on PC thanks to configs, you have movement plus the OP aim assist. Console controller players talk about hardware limitations like they don't have an option to turn off crossplay. Most of the arguments are aimed at PC controller players, since unlike you, we can't opt to play in mouse and keyboard only lobbies. Apex has notoriously bad visibility, which again is basically alleviated by rotational aim assist, since it can track through all of that visual clutter, including caustic gas and catalyst wall. Correct me if I am wrong. Lots of people pick Bangalore just to disable aim assist. Objective stats from the latest ALGS show that controller outperforms mouse and keyboard players by quite a substantial margin. Difference between inputs, I think, are smaller in pro play. Imagine how average players feel playing as aim assist without better movement. Controller absolutely dominates PC rank. There are more controller players in among top predators than mouse and keyboard in PC lobbies. PC lobbies are basically glorified console lobbies with the amount of people are on controller. More consistency, using aim drift to have aim assist constantly on, unbannable strike packs that negate recall among other things. 100 Thieves is the only full mouse and keyboard team in the ALGS. I just want to give a big shout out to George for this one. This was like a really elaborate response. And compared to a lot of the responses, this one really takes the cake. Just big shout outs, very well put together. Some things like the caustic gas were a little bit, I think, wrong because I'm pretty sure it doesn't work through caustic gas, but we're going to be testing that, so we'll probably add like a fact check here somewhere or whatever. So cringe, can't let controller players have one thing. Because Grayson, their one thing is legal aimbot. Oh man, he went to war for it. And oh wow, this was a lot longer than I expected, and combing through these hundreds of responses ended up taking up a large portion of my day. Actually, I recorded the second part like 2 days later because it was just so much. I was also kind of pining going through all of these because I knew there would be quite a bit of inflammatory statements, and that's not something I want to seek out intentionally. Anyways, that's enough about me. With these perspectives in mind, there are a lot of things that I want to say. But before we even start, I have to mention that, just like I mentioned in the intro, people, very obviously, still don't even know what they're arguing about. Console players seem to think that this discussion involves them, when we aren't even in the same lobbies, unless they specifically queue with a PC player. And at that point, aren't they asking for it? I wouldn't go into a war zone with a toy gun and complain that I get blasted by real bullets. But due to all the misinformation that gets spread around this topic, I've definitely gotten the impression that many console players aren't even aware that the lobbies are separated in the first place. The lobbies have never mixed, yet so many console players think PC can find a way into the lobbies for legit reasons. Having an option for crossplay in the client doesn't help, because people think that means that it's enabled by default. But if you're in console, disabling the crossplay option only disables console crossplay. It basically puts you in this specific lobby of other players who are only playing on your system. If we narrow down the scope to PC controller with a PC mouse and keyboard, there's actually a lot of overlap, and as we can see, PC controller can do the same, if not technically better movement than mouse and keyboard thanks to all the scripts and macros, while also getting the benefit of aim assist to go with it. But damn it, I'm getting too involved in these arguments. Reading the post made me want to butt in and just do a comment, and it doesn't help that the fact check portion only involves like straight up misinformation and flat out lies, and I didn't want to add arguments as to why some things are the way that they are with it. If I take a biased view, and don't worry, I will be more reasonable later on, but I do want to say that I feel like aim assist trumps all of the advantages that mouse and keyboard has. But if I have to take that step back and come with a piping hot take for the video, I don't think you can fairly compare the inputs at all. There's definitely pros and cons to both controller and mouse and keyboard, and you could argue that some pros are more useful than the others, but at the end of the day, you can't make a fair comparison, because both inputs are fundamentally different. I mean, for example, controller is a bit more stiff to use, but you have assisted aim, and mouse and keyboard has more options, but it's fully manual, and all highlights you make or all the mistakes you do are due to your own skill or your lack thereof. You can't fairly put them up against each other, listing the pros and cons, picking and choosing, because it all falls short before you even begin. And because you can't compare the two, you can't pick and choose things that you want to add or remove in between the inputs. Which means that no matter how you spin it, controller and mouse and keyboard will never find a perfect balance. I would argue we're definitely leaning towards controller and aim assist having the upper hand at the moment. And the thing is, it makes sense that it is the one that's being favored, since Respawn and other gaming developers understand that this is an unwinnable fight, and they choose to cater to the vastly larger player base, that being the console and the controller community, because you want to cater to the largest community so you can make the most money. They're companies. Money trumps competitive integrity. It just does. And in my humble opinion, the best solution for the sake of competitive integrity would just be splitting the lobbies. Turn off crossplay, and if a console player joins a PC lobby, their aim assist will be turned off. PC controllers should have a separate lobby, as they have way too many advantages against console players, and PC mouse and keyboard users should have their own lobbies as well. But again, this would be a huge hindrance to the community. It would make queues really long and fracture the community in so many ways that no sane game developer ever would want. So they instead opt to cater to the casual majority and call it a day. Is it fair competitive integrity? No. Is it a logical business decision? Yes, absolutely. Do I think anything will change? No, hell no. And hopefully this video gave you some insight in the hot topic of aim assist and why it is so hard to solve. I'm sure you have tons of thoughts, so feel free to let me know down below. If you're interested in learning about all the possible movement techniques that you can do in a controller without the configs, check out the video on the screen. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening to me rant to this for, well, the recording is over an hour long. Take it easy, and I will see you all tomorrow.